On today's show, I don't care what the scoreboard says, the Los Angeles Dodgers did not win the final game of this first set between them and the Padres. The Padres offense choked it away with multiple high leverage situations. The offense just completely not showing up. Zip zoo, nada.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Thursday, June 12th. As always, I'm your host, the San Diego Padres fan from New Jersey, and I've been covering this team for almost 6 years now for not just this podcast, but also various other outlets, including JustBaseball.com, chief among them. Today's episode is brought to you, though, by our good friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. As always, be sure to go follow me on Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO, for any questions, comments, or concerns about the show and the Padres, our Friar Faithful. Today's episode, guys, we are recapping yesterday's game. I was being a little bit facetious. Obviously, the Padres did lose. I just want to do a little bit of a hook for you. You know what I mean? Get the Dodgers fans mad, because I know that they're probably tuning into this one. We're going to be talking about yesterday's game recap. In my opinion, really should be at the fault of the offense. Then going to talk a little bit about Xander Bogaerts, giving some slander his way, and some of the new things that I think that I've found that are the most concerning, and whether there's any hope going forward. And then, if we have time, we'll have time to talk a little bit about Tiascar Hernandez and Campusano and whether or not they deserve a shot. Let's get right into it, guys. The Padres lose not last night's. It was a day game. Yesterday afternoon's game by a score of 5-2. And no, it wasn't the Randy Vasquez regression game. It was not. 4.2 innings in this one, giving up 1 earned run on 2 hits, 1 walk, 4 Ks, the 1 run, a shot by Michael Conforto. Look, Randy Vasquez, I don't know how he keeps getting away with it. I think it's going to happen at some point that it's just not going to go well. I don't know how he hasn't had the Matt Waldron stretch that he had last year where eventually the jig is up, right? But in the case of Randy Vasquez, it's starting to show, right? Over his last 5 starts, he has yet to surpass 5 innings. He's becoming a little bit of one of those guys that could potentially be a piggyback starter in the sense that they have 2 long inning relievers that they put together to count as their 5th starter, right? You've seen the Padres do this a couple times. Maybe if the rotation gets healthy with Darvish and Michael King, you could potentially see like a Ryan Bergert / Randy Vasquez day, a Stephen Kolek / Randy Vasquez day, whatever combination that might be due. But this game isn't on him. It really isn't. To me, it is on the Padres offense, and it started off poorly, right? Like, let's be very clear. This game did not start off well. A very fortuitous, unfortunately, start for the Padres. In fairness, bottom of the second inning when the Padres do actually end up, was it the bottom of the second inning? It was bottom of the second, right? Yeah, bottom of the second inning. Gavin Sheets is thrown out at home by an excellent throw by Andy Pages. Barely gets him at home plate, like barely gets him. So, in fairness, that was just a great play by Andy Pages, who killed the Padres, obviously, this series. And then, the Padres have a situation in which Ben Casparius, who's the starter for the Los Angeles Dodgers, my apologies for getting the name wrong, walks Martin Maldonado with the bases loaded. Pretty hilarious, frankly. Like, I just like the idea that you were being a lot more aggressive on guys like Bogaerts and Cronenworth and Iglesias, and then you got to Martin Maldonado, and the count is 3-0 at one point, then 3-1, and then he just walks him. I was like, what are you scared of him for? One of the worst active catchers in baseball right now. But whatever. Anyway, Tatis then, after the Martin Maldonado draws the walk, swings on the first pitch, pops up, he looks frustrated. Still winning, man. Still winning. He's drawn some walks lately. He's looked a little bit better at the plate, but that version of Tatis we saw in the first month of the season, it really is long enough to start like genuinely being concerned that there's just something wrong mechanically, because he looks really bad. Now, he did put the ball in the air more this series, did draw the walks. I'm just saying, we need to see more from him. And this series against the D-backs upcoming, which we'll talk about tomorrow, bad pitching. Please, Tatis, we need you. We need you, buddy, because Manny's kind of carrying right now. But that's not all, guys. The big hit in this game comes by way of Tiascar Hernandez, who I feel like has killed the Padres multiple times. He hit them with a bad grand slam in that playoff game that the Padres ended up winning, but he always instills fear in my heart, and he did here, giving a 3-run shot and eventually kind of the game decider for the Dodgers, bringing Will Smith and Freddie Freeman. look, Jeremiah Estrada, he's been awesome for this team. Like, I don't want to hate on him too much, but really poor moment for him because of the fact that you threw 2 straight fastballs right down the middle to Tiascar Hernandez. And as someone tweeted at me on Twitter, my main man, Sean Urban. I mean, I don't know if you've ever tweeted at me before, but thank you, sir. Tweeted at me saying, honestly, better matchup was probably Jason Adam. Tiascar Hernandez struggles with sliders and sweepers. And if you check Baseball Savant, that is true. Let me tell you, Tiascar Hernandez does struggle, at least partially. Your part of your tweet is true there, but he's hitting 265 with a slug of 531 against sliders, so not necessarily true there. And he does whiff a bunch, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of just part of his game. But in terms of the second part of your statement, sir, with sweepers, he is struggling against them. This year, very, very much. Astonishingly low 48 batting average against. And I will admit, though, last year he was bad against sliders. This year he hasn't been. 205 last year against sliders. So absolutely good point. I don't know why they used the Strata there, if that was the matchup. But hey, what can you do? It was just like a weird situation in which, you got a couple of, there was a throwing error, like a poorly fielded ball, let's say, by Adrian Monahan. And then you have the walk by Estrada. So it was really just one at bat that went wrong, but even still, really frustrating. I hate it. It reminded me a little bit of like the Jason Adam throwing 4 changeups to Trent Grisham, and like 2 of them in the exact same spot in Yankee Stadium, and changeups aren't even like your best. Like, why are you throwing the same pitch? You have other ones. But anyway, not gonna harp on that for too long because really it's about the offense. Like I said, the Tatis moment in the first inning. Really rough. Arise popping up with the bases loaded, kind of the last chance that the Padres have in this game. Bases loaded and 1 out on a pitch inside, and then Manny then swings 3-0 on a pitch near the top right corner of the zone. So it was a strike in fairness, but that was really frustrating. That's kind of the way I describe this series, right? And actually, someone else messaged me on Twitter. It was a private message, but still, he messaged my man Tanner. He was like, "Hey, sometimes when watching Luis Arise, I want to throw my head through a wall." Because it's true. You get a nice pitch that was up and in, and then you're swinging at something inside. It's moments like that are why Luis Arise is not just his batting average. You have to look at the bigger thing. I know, and believe me, guys, listeners, watchers, I know analytics people are annoying. I get it. I'm 100% with you. I think that they don't value certain things a lot. I get it. But they are not wrong about Luis Arise. He is a very frustrating player, and that 300 on base that he's probably has after yesterday, it's rough. He needs to have multi-hit games pretty consistently, and he went 0 for 3 with a walk, though. That was kind of nice. But overall, bad moment for him. Bad game for this Padres offense overall. Just not coming up with the big hits. Even like Tatis, he does draw the walk, but we needed a hit from him. But then again, that's not his fault. He didn't really get anything to hit. So really frustrating. But before we conclude my recap of this game, I just want to take one shot at the Dodgers. One shot at the Dodgers before we get into the Xander Bogaerts kind of soapbox. But first, a word from our sponsors. And that sponsor, folks, is our good friends over at the Duel of Fandom. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right, FanDuel. The NBA playoffs, as you know, they've been full swing for a month, and now we've got the finals, and every night could deliver highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. And if you're new to FanDuel, no worries. It's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. And just like that, everybody, we are back here thriving and vibing to segment number 2 of this here podcast. Remember, go follow me on Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO. For any questions, comments, or concerns, I told you, I promised you, I told you, I'd give you a little bit of Dodgers slander, just as a treat. I actually tweeted it out, but there's a moment in this game in which a double play is about to be turned on Manny Machado, and the ball gets thrown into the dugout of the Padres, right? And it actually really got thrown there. Obviously not intentional to try to turn the double play, but I had tweeted out saying wow, a Dodgers player throwing a ball dangerously into the Padres dugout, surely we'll get a whole op-ed excoriating them for their actions following the game, right? This, of course, a reference to the game that, I don't care if I'm being immature. by the way. I don't care. I don't care if I'm being overly biased. I don't care if this is even cringy. I don't care. I'm still mad over the way that series was treated. Obviously, the Padres lost. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm more mad at like the media coverage of that game than anything I've been in a long time. The fact that beer was, I'm sorry, one more time. Just let me let it loose, guys. Just one more time before we get to Xander. The fact that beer is being thrown at Tatis at Profar in the outfield, and then Flaherty hits Tatis, and then we became the bad guys because Manny soft tossed a ball into the dugout, and then Dave Roberts literally admitted he was just concocting fake narratives to help motivate his team, right? And then like you got Ken Rosenthal writing a column talking about the sinister sling. Everybody on the Fox broadcast is talking about like, yeah, this is why they're the villains and all that stuff. Just completely ignoring everything else. I'll never forget one of the more blatant media biases I've ever seen. I also, in terms of bias, I have not gotten an answer yet as to why the Aaron Judge signing. I'm going on a tangent, but I don't care. I'm upset. I have not gotten an answer from anybody that I know, including people that are more connected to baseball, as to why MLB reportedly would have rejected the Aaron Judge signing to the Padres. And before you say anything, this is prior to the Manny, Xander, Jake, Darvish, Suarez contracts. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Xander Bogaerts, guys, as promised. My God. Look, we're going to do an episode at some point, probably talking about Xander Bogaerts, but I'm actually in a Discord for Just Baseball, by the way, who I mentioned in the intro of the show, because I'm a staff member. And one of the things that they talk about is like, all right, it's like a boring conversation to have sometimes, but is Xander Bogaerts the worst contract in baseball? It's possible. It really is. I will say it is pretty astonishing seeing that he's a 1.1 wins above replacement player right now. That's wild, and it doesn't match the eye test. But the big thing with him is that he's got speed, right? That's the big thing with him. He has some decent speed, and he's playing really good defense, at least so far, right? Like, he's 3 outs above average. That's very good. He's in, like, the 80th percentile among shortstops. He's actually low-key, like, playing a pretty good, efficient third shortstop. Like, that's pretty nice. And I think that's where the values come from. He's been able to at least, like, occasionally get on base and not swing at bad pitches the same way, say, a Luis Arraez does. But still, all in all, we're still seeing a guy that is just kind of a mess. Now, don't get me wrong. He's still, I think what you're seeing from him and why, like, it wouldn't, like, shock me if, like, randomly 2 years or even next year, Bogaerts puts together a pretty decent season. Because there's a plate approach, like, in terms of just seeing pitches, the ones that he swings at, it's not like he's chasing. I mean, if you look at percentiles, he's in the 81st percentile of whiff rate. Right? 20.7 chase rate, that's in the 89th percentile among all players. He also has a decent walk rate. That's probably what's helping him. And by the way, yeah, the fact that he has higher wins above replacement than Luis Arraez does tell you something about Arraez, by the way. But here's my thing. Arm Layton, who was on the show last Friday, he texted me and was like, Xander Bogaerts' slash line against 94 mile per hour pitches and higher is 171, 259, 200. Holy dear snickerdoodle McBobber. What on earth is going on? My God. That is very disturbing. It's giving Ryan Howard. A little bit of a history lesson for you guys. Ryan Howard, especially when I started like following baseball on a non-local level, more of a national level, like across the league when I started getting into fantasy baseball, which was like 2013, 2014 for me. Ryan Howard was like pretty washed at this point. It became kind of a thing where everyone was like, man, Ryan Howard was so fun. He hit all these home runs. It became very obvious how to attack him. And it became very obvious that he could not hit anything above a certain mile per hour mark, right? Like that's kind of what happened with him. Like in 2014, this guy had a 223 batting average. He hit 23 home runs, which was nice. But overall, he was such a negative because no defense, no speed, anything like that. It basically became like just throw something fast. And this happens with guys sometimes. And that's what I think is the most frustrating, right? Like you're just seeing that this is a guy who just looks like he's a total mess. And that's kind of it's not a comp, they're not the same player, but he can't keep up with speed. 171 and gets 94 miles per hour, guys. That's crazy. In terms of like off-speed pitches, he's actually been getting a little bit lucky as expected batting average of 199, but he's hitting 257 against them. It's just not... You look at this guy and you're like, what the heck? Any sweepers? Anything with a little bit of movement he's not catching up to? It's tough. But my guy Arm actually texted me saying, look, I actually don't think, he doesn't think, that he's completely washed. He thinks he needs to fix his swing, and that he's just not quick enough to hit like that anymore with his current swing, right? And he's just a little bit too handsy. Because when you watch him play, this is an eye test thing now. When you watch him play, he doesn't show it. He showed it more in 23. Like a little bit of like the grimacing after he swings. He's not showing that now as much as just like more of a frustration look. But when he swings, he looks like to me how I feel when I play like the annual wiffle ball game, like outside my best friend's place, like on July 4th, Memorial Day weekend, something like that. One of the summer holiday, whichever one. Pick my birthday is in July. And then like I was like running around a bunch in the field, and then we have to switch sides, and I'm gassed, and I'm at the plate being like, yeah, whatever. Like I still try to hit, you know what I mean? I'm not going to swing at anything terrible, but like the life force is drained out of me. That's what it looks like watching him. It really does. And look, there are crazy things around baseball. Carlos Correa looked like he was dead his first year of that contract with the Twins. Then he bounced back. Now he's dead again, granted, so maybe a bad example. But George Springer looked like he was done, got healthy. He's been awesome this year. Might be a real trade chip, potentially for the Blue Jays, although he's still got a decent contract, so I don't know how high of a trade chip he'll be. But look, what I'm saying is this. This guy's been a good player for a long time, at least with Boston. It's not completely impossible that one of these days he fixes his approach and makes it a little bit shorter pathway. But, hey, look, Arm knows a lot of things, and I'm going to trust him on this. I'm just saying, that's pretty disturbing. That's that. 171 batting average against pitches 94 miles per hour or greater. My God, man. It's tough. It's gotten to the point where my dad, my mom will talk to me and be like, they just need to cut him. Just cut him. And unfortunately, for the foreseeable future, that's not going to happen, as he's a guy that signed an 11-year contract. The only way I could see that happening is if we don't give up Leody DeVries at the deadline, or frankly, this offseason, next year's deadline, whatever it is, right? And he turns out awesome, and he's like a top prospect in baseball, like a Roman Anthony level type of guy, and he looks great. And in 2 years, they're like, all right, maybe we'll move him to the bench, or maybe we eat the rest of the salary. Because as of right now, he's still got like, oh my God, man. He's still got like 180 million left. Like it's rough, people. It's rough. It's rough. What can I say? But folks, that's not the only thing that's been rough for the Padres this year. I want to talk a little bit more about the team and a little talk about the division, frankly. Just want to give a couple comments on that and some of their decisions and some of their reluctance, dare I say, to change their lineup. But first, we got to talk about one of our sponsors. We'll be right back. And that sponsor for today's show, guys, alongside FanDuel, we got our friends over at GameTime, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family or acquaintances or even, heck, a stranger that you met at the bar after happy hour? Whatever it is, it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands, and that's exactly where GameTime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group, by the way. GameTime makes it possible. Buying tickets is fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. So take that guesswork and the worry out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed with GameTime. And just like that, everybody, we are back here thriving and vibing into the final segment of today's show. We got to talk about nihilism. We got to talk about just lack of attention. We got to talk about, dare I say, the insouciance, to use an SAT word, by the Padres to just seemingly have no interest in trying out some of their younger guys, particularly Tiascar Hernandez and Luis Campusano. This is something that's been brought up. A couple of people have tweeted at me. A couple of people left comments, I should say. Not as many tweets about this subject, so I lied there, my bad. But about Tiascar Hernandez, because here's the bottom line. Tirso Ornelas and Luis Campusano are the two guys that are like unproven quantities, flawed players. I do not think in any universe that they are superstars in the waiting. I do trust the Padres that much that they're not just keeping, Ken Griffey down in the minors right now. They're not just keeping Alex Gordon, you know what I mean? Just to use a little bit more of a down-to-earth type of player in the minor leagues or anything like that. But as of right now, if you look at left field, the Padres are just a disaster, right? Like a disaster when it comes to left field. This is a team that in terms of Jason Hayward, Brandon Lockridge, and Tyler Wade, who are basically the players that have played left field for them, they have accounted for minus 0.3 wins above replacement. To give you an idea, like, of how bad that is, like, Elias Diaz has more wins above replacement, different positions and all that stuff, but that's pretty bad. Elias Diaz is a 0.0 right now, by the way. Actively negative for the Padres. And it's a rough, like, Jason Hayward is a negative 0.5, because Jason Hayward, while he did make some good defensive plays, just could not hit, like, just completely washed at the plate. Completely washed. And it's really frustrating to watch because you know that the Padres might at least have something, right, in the minor leagues with Tirso Ornelas, who they gave a chance this year, but not long, and I understand that because it was early on, and he was really struggling. But I still question what the team is doing, right? In terms of wins above replacement, by the way, the Padres are the 6th lowest, I think, among left field. Like, they're really, really low. The Atlanta Braves, Pittsburgh Pirates, Chicago White Sox, Kansas City Royals, and Houston Astros are some others. But, like, it's pretty wild that they have the 2nd lowest WRC plus, by the way. It just means, basically, here's what I'm saying. Brandon Lockridge having good defense is the only thing that makes them from being the worst. Some of those other teams that I mentioned, like the Royals, like the White Sox are terrible. The Pirates are terrible. The Braves lost Jerks and Profar, who's supposed to be their left fielder. It's just been bad. But anyway. There are some, like, decent options that the Padres could obviously consider at come trade deadline. Jesus Sanchez, talked about him with Arm. Like, he is a 0.5 wins above replacement player. Maybe he can help, and it's probably not going to cost anything. Obviously, you've got Jaron Duran out there, but maybe Austin Hayes, Ryan O'Hearn. You want to take a shot on Luis Robert? I'm personally pro doing it at this point, right? Why not? At the very minimum, he'll give you good defense. And you've seen the upside, and I really feel like he could be a change of scenery guy. Right? Like, I wouldn't mind it. Maybe you could get the White Sox to buy low. I don't know. Or sell low. Luis Robert. I don't know. But to me, I question, why isn't Tirso Ornelas getting a shot? Because Tirso Ornelas has currently an above 300 batting average and an 805 OPS in AAA. He's hitting it. And that's got to matter. Right? That's got to matter at least a little bit. As for catcher, you've got Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado. They've accounted for negative 0.1 wins above replacement. For what it's worth, before people are saying, we should have spent, you know what I mean? For what it's worth, in fairness, Kyle Higashioka, who's gotten a decent amount of playing time, by the way, for the Rangers, is negative 0.2 wins above replacement, according to Fangraphs. So, like in fairness, like I was pro signing Higgy, but I did not at all think it was like an end of the world thing, because my thing was like, Higgy did hit into a lot of power last year, and kind of out of nowhere, and it was really clutch. Doesn't usually translate year to year, but I just like I hate to bang the Sang drum. I hate to bang it over and over like I'm Miles Teller and Whiplash, baby. But I really think Luis Campusano deserves a shot, man. Like, Tirso is debatable because, again, I don't know exactly how good of a hitter he is. He really did look lost when he was up here, and Brandon Lockridge does at least play some decent defense, and he's got speed. But for Tirso, I also bring the same evidence, the same narrative thread to Luis Campusano, which is, why not give them a shot? What are we missing on exactly? Jason Hayward ain't going to do anything. He's old. This is it, right? Tyler Wade, he's been bad for a long time. He's barely a major leaguer, basically just because of his speed, more or less. Not to be mean. And then for the catchers, Elias Diaz has been around the league for a while. He is a replacement level catcher. That's kind of his destiny. You feel better about him if he's your backup. And then Martin Maldonado has been a negative wins above replacement catcher for 3 years now. And I get that he could provide some veteran value. He helped with Kyle Hart early on in the year, I guess. Helped pick his chin up a little bit. He had a nice home run the other day. But he can't hit. He's not throwing out runners all that much. He can't frame. He's not a good defensive catcher. And he's not good as a personal catcher for, say, Dylan Cease. I don't understand why Campusano, you're using him as a DH every now and then, like every other week. I don't get it. Like, Luis Campusano, literally right now, while he has not been very good, let me be very, very clear. He has not been good in the opportunities that he's gotten. He still does not have a hit yet, right? So it's a little bit tough for me to start, like, defending him. But in fairness to Luis Campusano, he's got a 300 on base. That's better than Diaz at 280. It's better than Maldonado at 223. I don't understand why the Padres aren't just like, let's just give him a week. Let's just give him a week and a half. Let's just try it. This adherence to the veteran thing is what's frustrating about the Padres. And unlike pitching, which I talked about in the offseason, by the way, the Padres haven't exactly proven that they have a great plan when it comes to filtering and finding out those bottom of the lineup, rest of the lineup depth guys, right? Matt Carpenter, Robinson Cano, right? Nelson Cruz, Mitch Moreland, Josh Bell, Brandon Drury. Granted, Josh Bell was good at the time that they traded for him. Adam Frazier, and a slew of others that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. This is not an area that the Padres have thrived in. Yes, they got Solano. I understand that. Yes, they got Profar, and yes, they got Higgy. But that was only last year. That's kind of the only year that they've ever found those depth pieces to help out with the lineup. I just think Campy deserves a shot. I know he's not a great fielder, but it's not like, at least according to the stats, that Maldonado is any better or that Diaz is any better. So why not just at least give Campusano the backup role? You know? Maybe it's a question of, we know we can keep him on the team longer. Maybe they're trying to preserve some sort of trade value here. But for me right now, I just don't get it. And in fairness, Campy, he raked in AAA. Maybe that's his destiny. He's a quadruple A player. Like, is always going to rake in AAA, but will never be good in the majors for whatever reason. But I really just think we're at the point where he deserves a shot. Maybe it's just me, though. Maybe it's just me. But everybody, that about does it for today's edition of the Locked On Padres podcast, the only pod that would be better than the Padres themselves. Remember to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow me one more time on Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO. Tomorrow's show, we are doing a crossover with my man and all-time buddy, Miller Thomas, the host of Locked On Diamondbacks, for a series preview for Friday's, series between the Padres and D-backs. That is really important now that they lost to the Dodgers, because you know why? They play the Dodgers again. Things could look very different by the end of that series. All of a sudden, the Padres could be in the D-back spot, right? Where we're like, are they sellers at the deadline? It's scary. It's scary, folks. So big series coming up. But until that next time when we talk, stay safe and, of course, stay faithful. My fire faithful homies. Take care.